This is the first video for Chapter 11. We're talking about similarity, and in this video we're going to discuss ratios and proportions, something that you should be a little bit familiar with. So let's start with the definition here. A ratio is just a statement comparing two numbers. It compares the size of one number to the size of another. Ratios can and should be simplified. Okay, so you want to reduce them whenever possible. And sometimes we'll talk about an extended ratio. We'll talk about that in a second. Alright, so if A and B are two numbers or quantities, the ratio between the numbers can be written in the following three ways. So one way that we can write it is A to B. We'll write it out with the word to. This way is not very common. The second way we can write it is A with a colon and B, and we still say A to B. And then the third way is A to B. So notice I wrote this as a fraction, but I still said A to B. This is the most common way. Most common. So we'll use this way almost all the time. Sometimes we'll use with a colon, and very rarely we'll use with the word to. Alright, so I mentioned extended ratios. So this is a comparison of three or more numbers. So when we have an extended ratio, numbers or quantities, so typically we'll write this using a colon, so we could say A to B to C. So that would be an extended ratio. It's comparing three quantities. Alright, moving on to proportions. So a proportion is a comparison also. A comparison of two ratios. So now we're going to compare two ratios. And the comparison states that the ratios are equal. Alright, so some ways that we can write proportions. You probably have seen proportions written in fractional form, so I could have A to B is equal to C to D, or sometimes we'll say A is to B as C is to D, or we may see it in colon form. A is to B as C is to D. Alright, and then solve using cross multiplication. Alright, so if you need review on that, you will get that in the next video. But these are the important points on proportions. As always, if you have questions or if you need to rewatch, feel free. Make sure you get these two terms on your Google spreadsheet of vocabulary, and we will see you in the next video.